intro thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Eureka.
Yeah.
We make plays every day, yeah.
Piggyback.
We make plays every day, yeah.
Piggyback.
We make
Pickz in this.
plays every day,
You
yeah.
already know.
We make plays every day, yeah. We make plays every day, yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. We make plays every day, yeah.
Save it for a rainy
Make
day.
plays every day,
Piggyback.
yeah.
I'm talking about.
Plays every day,
Hey.
yeah.
Welcome to the Real Fantasy Playmakers. I am your host, Bogart Scott Free. And today I got two gentlemen that happen to be one of the upcoming analysts. They're a duo. Man, their content caught my attention a little while back. I had reached out to these fine gentlemen, and I may or may have not have followed through immediately. They did respond to me initially, and the universe tends to have a way of bringing us together when it was meant to be. You feel me? So here we are, and I want to introduce, with no further delay, it's the tag team duo, the tag team champions of the world, even of the fantasy industry. It's Sin City and Kevin Banks representing the Piggy Bank Pickz. Hey, welcome, fellas.
Hey, what an intro, bro. That is highly appreciated.
Hey,
What is good?
you know what I'm saying? And you know what's funny? Like, people be asking me, they're like, do you write your intros down? I'm like, nah, I just take a shot of vodka and I just go in. You know what I
That's the
mean?
only one.
You feel me? Okay. Well, check this out, gentlemen. Before we get you guys to have my audience get more familiar with the Piggy Bank Pickz, you know what I'm saying, and get to know you fellas a little more in depth. We're just gonna go ahead and handle this quick housekeeping. Follow me at the GMM Network on Twitter, also on IG. Also on IG, follow me at Bogart Scott Free World. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you guys also subscribe to us at the GMM Network on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Also, check us out at rumboys.com. That's for all our merch, and that's where you're gonna find all the latest and greatest articles from all our journalists, and you know what I'm saying, and all our that's where you're gonna find all our blogs. You know what I'm saying? Definitely check us out at rumboys.com. That's rumboys with a Z. Also, we want to shout out our sponsor, Milk and Honey TX, for all your CBD wellness and all your CBD goodness. Visit milkandhoneytx.com. And also want to give a special shout out to our Rum Boys sponsor, monkeyknifefight.com. Download monkeyknifefight.com, or not download, go on monkeyknifefight.com, make an account, use promo code RUMBOYZ, RUMBOYZ, all capitals. We'll match your first deposit all the way up to $50. You know what I'm saying? We got DFS in full effect. You know what I'm saying? UFC, that, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully all y'all been benefiting off UFC being back. We got all sports coming back. We're speaking it into existence. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we do. Selfishly, we need this thing to come back. You know what I mean? And I know the world is in shambles right now, but we're just going to try to spread this positivity as much as possible. Go ahead on monkeyknifefight.com, make an account, use promo code RUMBOYZ, all capitals. We'll go ahead and match up your deposit all the way up to $50. Hey, fellas, let them know where they can find you guys and all your content.
Man,
I'm fired up, bro. But yo, you can find me at Piggy Bank Pickz on Instagram. My boy Sin City. Where can they find you at, man?
you can find me at Sin City on Sticks, but again, I'm definitely a part of the Piggy Bank Pickz. So you can find both of our content again at Piggy Bank Pickz and at Sin City on Sticks.
Sin City on Sticks. I like it. I like that you guys are like a little mini conglomerate. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I do want to say, we over here at the GMM Network, we like to believe that we're good at touting and scouting and shit like that. And I always consciously want to bring on other content creators that I feel will bring value to our audience, because I get value as well. You know what I mean? And I'm just a regular old motherfucker. So, you know what I mean? And here we are. So all right, fellas. You know what I mean? Who wants to go first? You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and introduce yourself again, and go ahead and let the audience, the playmakers, know a little more about yourself.
All right, for sure. Again, I go by Sin City at Sin City on Sticks. On my Sin City on Six, Sin City on Six channel, you can basically find gaming clips, and so basically, I've tried to combine some esports and NFL, and just make a whole page of kind of just some sports. Where if you wanted to look at some NFL, some fantasy stuff, you can check me out there. If you wanted to see some of the game clips that I am putting out, you can check it out there. I did get into this a little bit before I graduated from the Los Angeles Film School, when I was, doing some music, and I just carried that music aspect over to these video edits.
Oh,
and
word! Hey, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm still to this day. That's my background. You know what I mean? I'm a sound engineer. I'm a producer. I'm an artist myself. Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? See, look at that. See, the universe always puts me around the people I need to be around. You know what I mean? Okay, continue,
Exactly.
Sin City.
Yeah, let me go ahead and wrap it up. So basically, like I said, bro, just trying to I edit the videos on my page and on Piggy Bank Pickz, the videos at least. Kevin Banks, he takes care of those the photos and the statistics and the information, and I'm gonna let him get into that now. But again, find me at Sin City on Sticks, and I'm on the Piggy Bank Pickz page.
Nice. Kevin Banks.
Yes, sir. All right, man. So, Piggy Bank Pickz, man. We talk all that football, that fantasy football, NFL talk. We talk news, all that, man. And I'm really good at it, man. This fantasy football thing, I've been doing it for a very long time, man. I got 12 years in this. I was winning money as a teenager, playing with grown men, and learning the game. I appreciate it since rookie cards, man. Reading stats has just always been my thing. I got a passion for this football shit, man. And yeah, bro, like. I'm just hyped, bro. Like, hey, I really appreciate you having us on, bro. Like, great host. I mean, dang, bro. I'm just, like, hyped up just talk football with you. And, like, to everybody, man, like, Piggy Bank Pickz, like, we do also the handicapping, man. Like, you want to make money with this gambling, bro? Like, we got formulas, we got stats. We don't think with emotion. Like, we can teach you how to make money that way, too. Take trips to Vegas, I love watching sports. I love making money. I love fantasy football. I make money there, too, because I love dominating leagues. So, man, if you want to follow that, be a leader out there, bro. Dominate your fantasy. Follow us. We got it.
Yeah, and also I want to add, if you want to use them as a secret weapon, you know what I mean, and like not tell your friends, but then have all the secrets and whoop that ass and get all their money. You know what I'm saying? But yes, share the wealth. You know what I mean? And fun fact, fellas. So the GMM in GMM Network, it stands for Give Me Money. You know what I'm saying? It also unofficially stands for Get More Money. It also unofficially stands for God Made Money. And then it also stands for Get More Money. Did I say that twice? But you know what? We meant it twice. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay, so fellas, tell me how this thing all started. Like, you know what I mean? What was that conversation like where you guys were like, yo, you know what? We're about to do this thing. We're about to become a conglomerate. You know what I mean?
Man, you want me to go, Kevin, or are you going?
You can go for it, bro. I'll add to it.
So basically, Kevin Banks was running his Piggy Bank Pickz prior to me actually running my Sin City on Sticks page. Kevin Banks has been putting in that work in the gambling scene and the fantasy football scene. And we actually got our other boy, Chris, who's involved as well.
Shout out to Chris.
And Chris is definitely, he got a hand in this gambling stuff, man. And one time, I've been knowing Kevin Banks for a cool minute, man. Like, to me, I don't even know how long. I don't even want to ask him, but we've known each other for a while. And like, one day we was linking up in Vegas, and he showed me, what he do in person, and he won a grip of money. He was teaching people, what it took to make some money. Some people didn't believe him, some people did, but when they saw he made some money, they started messing with him. So it was like, and then he kind of just approached me after a while on some combination stuff, trying to just get our media together. And, me and him know football. I do the talk. I try to be, a little personality. And, I got my degree in entertainment. So with my, schooling and actual editing skills, I was just trying to get involved with him, and we linked up. and we've just been combining this. Just all of the music that you hear, I've done on the page as well. So
That's dope. So that's you. That's you on the beats.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's also me too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, man. We just tried to link it all up from the music. Kevin Banks used to do some music. For football, the video games, the editing is just a melting pot, and this is what came out.
Check this out, Playmakers. We got a couple of Renaissance men on our hands. You know what I mean? I love it. Love it, man.
Yeah.
Okay, Kevin. What, you know what I'm saying? You want to backpack that?
Yeah, man. Like me and Kyrie know each other over a decade, man. Real cool dude, man. Real solid, real talented, artistic. So like you talked about, the universe brings you together. That's why we definitely have a friendship, man, and his partnership with Piggy Pickz. And we're just trying to do big things, man. And we met in Vegas. I told him, I was like, hey, bro, look, it's week 1. We're gonna go to Paris Hotel. We already got our reserved seats at the sports book. And we just sitting there, bro, and I'm like, look at this, bro. I'm about to flip this money real quick. These are the stats, and I'm going to give you the game. I was, 9 points. Underdog was the Bengals, the Cincinnati Bengals that literally won a game last year, playing the Seattle Seahawks. We know Seattle is a very slow, starting team or whatever. So I was like, look, bro, I'm going to make this money. The Bengals going to cover this real quick.
Oh, my God, because that was when Andy Dawn actually went for threw for 450, and he never topped 400 in his career.
Yes, sir.
In his whole career.
Yes, sir. So, and no AJ Green, right? So,
yep. Dude, that's a great call.
Yes, exactly. So
two trash secondaries, so you knew it was going to be a shootout.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, bro. So he seen he saw the money that I put down. He was like, "Oh, you gonna really do that?" Yes, sir. I trust the stats, bro. And practically I was like, "Bro, you're talented. We gotta talk." We started putting it all together, bro. And then we played fantasy football a long time ago, bro. We actually used to be coworkers, man. And
So you guys had an office league.
Yeah. So we were in the office league, bro. And then he was good. I was good, bro. So Kyrie played football too, so he understands the game.
Yeah, so, the X's and O's and everything, man. Because
exactly, bro, you gotta do it.
Because when you combine your statistical analysis along with his field time, and then that's what builds this conglomerate in fantasy. And I'm a strong believer in because there's a lot of trash analysts out there. I won't say any names because I ain't no snitch, you know what I'm saying? But I will say that a lot of people, they'll put a lot into production, and it's really to mask the fact that they really don't know what they're talking about. And I would rather hear, some straightforward analysis and for people that's proven, you know what I mean? And then the fact that you guys have known each other for over a decade, where you guys you could talk each other off a ledge, you know what I mean? You could have an extremely strong take, and then he might be able to scale you back and be like, you know what, you're right, you know what I mean? And vice versa. Maybe you might be on one side of the coin, and he's like, nah, bro, you need to be on this side of the coin, you know what I mean? And then all counting money together, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That part.
Because at the end of the day, I'm in leagues where it's not a lot of money, and then it's goddamn pride. You know what I'm saying? The leagues I'm in with other analysts. But then there's the ones that are the big money leagues where we may or may not have a couple fish in there. But hey, you know what I'm saying? That's that's them trying to dance with the wolves. You know what I mean? And it's those ones are those tend to be the more active leagues for me too. The ones with the big money, because motherfuckers, they get closer to that trade deadline, you start getting active, you know what I mean? You just $500 buy-ins type of shit, and you know what I mean? And I usually just try to get into the money. I just try to get into the money, you know what I'm saying, and just kind of trying to negotiate. Because then, even if you go all the way down to the end, you know what I mean, and you can split that pot, I'm not mad at that, you know what I mean? But in those pride leagues, that's not even in the conversation, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. All right, well, shit. You know what I'm saying? Let's get right into it. So Sin City, I understand you're the Dolphin, or do I have that backwards?
I'm the what? I'm sorry.
You're the Dolphins fan, right?
Oh no. That is my boy.
I'm sorry. No disrespect. It won't happen again. All right. All right. So you're the Cowboy, and then my man's Kevin Banks right here. He's a Dolphins fan.
Correct.
Okay. So take me to week 2 last year. How was that? What was that like?
It was beautiful. Oh, who you asking? You asking, who you want to hear from?
No, we'll get both takes. You know what I mean? Because I know. Even if Kevin Banks, even though the Dolphins lost that game, he probably wasn't a loser that day. He probably cashed in.
Man, from what I remember, it was a beautiful day, man. I think it was in Miami, from what I remember, and
Now,
that Prescott
week
let
3,
off.
Dallas.
Oh, it was
in
week
Dallas?
3. My bad.
Week 3 Dallas,
It wasn't
yeah.
week 2. Yeah. Oh, week 2 or 3. Either one. It was one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, week
Good
3
call,
Dallas.
good call. It was a good day overall, man. I mean, I don't really have much to say about that. We got the W, but at the end of the day, it was in our 3-game span of, is this Dak Prescott MVP? Is Dallas going? Are they going to go 16-0? And then Dallas things happen. So, I'm a realistic Dallas fan here. Like, it was a good win. I mean, Miami wasn't playing. That was that team in the first 5 weeks was awful. Miami started picking it back up later on, so I mean,
And you know what though? I'm
okay.
on the side of things that Miami they put out Josh Rosen there to secure a bunch of L's so they can they can move as high as possible. You know what I mean?
That's a question for your boy Banks. What you think?
Nah, I don't buy it. I mean, maybe in the beginning, the rumors, we were tanking, bro, but I mean, I'm gonna break down the head coach. You got to look at that man. That's
Hey, B Flores, bro.
I mean, straight from Honduras. Shout out to my Central American people, and like that's dope, man. Like he came in, he was not about that nonsense. Best man was gonna play. It didn't matter who it was, and Coach Flo showed that, and that's why you got the end result, what you got.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Culture.
So yeah, man, he is changing the culture over there, and I love that he has a Hispanic background, being in Miami, where where Latin America their presence is felt. You know what I mean? Like I think this is. I think the changes over there are great. You know what I mean? And I even think. I mean, first of all, I do want to say you guys could silently boo me on this. I am a Niner fan, born and raised. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And I'm playing both you guys this year, so. You know what I mean? I could already see us doing shows those weeks. You know what I mean?
Hey, you did Marino dirty though.
What's up?
Y'all did Marino dirty.
Oh yeah, his rookie year. Oh
It's
man,
only Chaz, man. It's only Chaz.
and you know what's funny is I was born in '84,
Okay.
so like
Good draft.
yeah, so like you know what I'm saying that I was born into a championship team and like, but then ironically I've only seen one title in my time. Like my Niners were Steve Young, you know what I mean? Like, and Joe Montana was a thing of legend, you know what I'm saying? Even at one point, my dad, I remember him being like in the 3rd grade and he was a Chiefs fan and I didn't understand it. I'm like, what is this? And he's like, oh, Joe Montana, Jay. Like they call me Jay in my family because I'm a junior. And he was like, Joe Montana, he's the greatest. You know what I mean? And it was like, so I understood it, but then at the same time, he's still a Niner at heart. You know what I mean? But same way that he went to them bum ass Raiders at one point because of Jerry Rice. But I will say though that flip flopping jumping ship shit that stopped. That's the bloodline stopped there. I stayed at red and gold through and through. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Right.
Okay, so now we're gonna start with the Dolphins. All right, so check us out, Cincy, and then we'll go around the horn and we'll all give each other's takes, but. So with my man, you know what I'm saying, the Harvard grad, the Magic Man, under center, right? How long do you think that they'll run with him under center before we see Tua? You know what I mean?
All right. I mean that's a great question, but I think, like I said, you got to start at the top, and we're gonna go with the coaching, right? So you just have a new offensive coordinator, and Chan Gailey. Chan Gailey has quite a bit of history with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh yeah.
So, the Jets, the Bills, and, and that's actually, his career years, if you will. Those are some of the best numbers that he's ever put up.
Yeah.
So he understands the Harvard grad, understands this offense more than anything in football, right? Any other playbook. And now he has, a two under him, and Rosen. Let's be fair to Rosen. I mean, you got to compete in football. It's all about competition. So
You mean my man, Jewish Josh?
UCLA, bro, Bruin. Yeah, I don't believe in him, bro. But you know what? Everyone deserves a fair shot, and I want competition at every position because that's what Coach Flores believes in, and I believe in it too, bro. No one can be feeling safe out here. I don't care if you're a veteran, bro. You got to be hungry at all times in football. So I like that attitude, and that's what he brings. So yeah, I think that Fitzpatrick is going to do very well with Chan Gailey. Like I said, the spread offense. It definitely is going to help his game, man. It's going to help people like Devontae Parker. It's going to help Preston Williams. It's going to help my boy Gesicki, making crazy plays out there, acrobatic. And, you know what I mean? Like, Tua's going to have his time, bro, but it's not going to be anytime soon. I think that Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to do pretty well. And why rush Tua when we've seen great quarterbacks like Phillip Rivers, like Aaron Rodgers, like Patrick Mahomes? They could maybe just get a taste of one game or whatever in the season, but you don't have to start them right away.
Yeah, that's true, man. Because you know, if you think about recent history too, a lot of these young QBs, they get thrusted into the action when it's like, you know, old school mentality was like, you know, you let them be, you know, kind of like, you know, I know this is not college, but you kind of let them be redshirted in a sense, right?
Be students of the game.
Yeah. Okay, Sin City, what you think? How long you think the Miami Dolphins going to have the Magic Man under center?
See, that's a hard one. I mean, if Tua is ready to go, to be honest, he's hot. He should be starting. Miami, I mean, it's not like, you know, Miami is like, you know, I don't know, like a Tennessee or something where, you know, you got Tannehill there, but, you know, if you get somebody there, you might want to sit them down for a little bit because they got something going where you don't want to mess up. Miami isn't in the spot where they should be. You start this guy as soon as possible. Fitzpatrick, he should be, if Tua's ready to go, I think Fitzpatrick should be on that bench. But, I mean, if he's injured and to answer the question more, you know, more specifically, in reality, I think it will be at some point during this season. I think maybe second half. Maybe you know.
You think if they're like way underneath 500, you think that would be that would be time?
If they're under 500 by the second half of the season, absolutely.
You think it's
and when I say under 500, I don't mean, you know, like 7 and 9. I mean they got to be bad.
Yeah.
Because you know I think that, like you said, the coach in there. I mean they make good decisions so far. I mean I think the coaches there is good. I think they're going to make the right decision. And the right decision, obviously, is to have him sit for a little bit, especially if he has a small history of injuries. So, I mean, I would go with kind of just seeing where he's at. I mean, if he's completely healthy, then I'm putting him in. That's just where I'm at with it. But I think that it's going to be second half of the season regardless. I don't think Miami's going to be that good this season, and it'd be smart to get him in as soon as possible, in my opinion.
Okay, I hear you. I will say, with my unbiased opinion, not having any kind of direct ties to any any of the other 31 teams in reality besides my Niners. In fantasy, I have ties to all 32 teams. You know what I mean? Because that's our job. And I will say, I love the Magic Man in fantasy. And to backpack off of what you said, Banks, when you remember Chan Gailey, with the Jets or with Buffalo, he had fantasy relevant players. Like, I mean, I remember Stevie Johnson getting peppered. You know what I mean? In Buffalo. And I remember, the likes of Eric Decker or Brandon Marshall being peppered. You know what I mean? Where like, or even, because, we've seen the Magic Man be able to support two fantasy assets. In this case, last season, before Gesicki went down, you know what I'm saying? It was, Gesicki before Preston Williams went down, he was eating. So was Parker. And then when Gesicki went down, not Gesicki, I'm sorry. When you seen Preston Williams go down, Gesicki stepped up as that second party. You know what I mean? Because the Magic Man, he definitely zeroes in on his talent. You know what I mean? I mean, you got to be happy that, the likes of Adam Gase is gone, because when Adam Gase is around, he just seems to be like, oh, you're my best weapon? Well, then, we're giving you less snaps. Like, he's like, I didn't fucking understand that shit. And we're seeing him do that with the Jets the past couple seasons. You know what I mean? And I will. So now, speaking of, fantasy assets and weapons and whatnot, do you guys think, Devontae Parker, who actually finally had his breakout season because, he was trapped underneath Adam Gase for years and dealing with injuries and dealing with poor quarterback play like Jay Cutler, who always seems to hurt his receivers. I mean, let's remember this. Remember back with me, fellas, going back to Chicago, he would throw 50-50 balls religiously. He would literally be smoking a cigarette on the field, throwing 50-50 balls, and just never, no proper ball placement, letting his guys go up, take a hit, and then, Brandon Marshall would always be hurt. Alshon Jeffrey would always be hurt. Then he did the same thing to Parker. Throw him a few bad 50-50 balls. Parker go up to get it, get blasted. He's hurt. Then you get someone who's actually more accurate. And I always like to preface the fact that the Magic Man's a Harvard grad, where it's like, I feel like he just, he knows how to break down schematics on a playbook, being the savvy veteran that he is, the journeyman that he is. Also couple that with the fact now he's reuniting with Chan Gailey, where like Banks mentioned, you know what I'm saying, that he had his career years, as far as his production goes. So now they're reunited. And so here's the question: does Devontae Parker, does his fantasy value, are we only tying it to the Magic Man as long as he's under center?
That's a good question.
Because like when Rosen was
That's
there,
a great question.
like think about this: when Josh Rosen was under center, right? We seen him pepper the fuck out of Preston Williams because it made sense. They were on the team twos together. You know what I mean? So I'm just wondering, like, if and when we see Tua, is the secondary option going to be his man, or is, you know what I mean? Like, because obviously they're going to commit double coverage to Parker, or like within that division when they're playing against Buffalo, it's going to be Tre'Davious White, taking on Parker on the island. Is Tua going to be able to, is the lefty going to be able to, put the ball where it needs to be with extreme coverage like that, or like against Stephon Gilmore, and these are guys that are going to play twice. You know what I mean?
Stephon Gilmore. Do you know who Stephon Gilmore's daddy is, though?
Who?
Devontae Parker.
I thought it was a real question. I love that because it is a real question. Hey, you know what, bro? That sparked that whole Michael Thomas shit, huh?
Yeah, it did, bro. See, Michael Thomas. If people like you anything about Devontae Parker, or the Miami Dolphins in that case, they would know a little backstory about why he feels that way about Gilmore. Like, it had nothing to do with Michael Thomas and his greatness. It had everything to do going at Stephon Gilmore because he surrendered the best numbers to Devontae Parker, or his worst numbers, you should say. It's crazy. Devontae Parker has lit up Gilmore plenty of times.
Hey, you know what? Let's hold on. Let's put this on pause real quick. I just want to ask a quick question. How big is Devontae Parker? He's like 6'2", 6'3".
He's like an AJ Green, bro.
He is, right? Because Stephon Gilmore. Now this is why I bring up the question, because y'all know Corey Davis. Corey Davis is another one of those guys that just seems to have Gilmore's number, and the couple times that he's played against him, he produces against him. But I think, and they're kind of similar in size, him and Parker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's lanky, big guy that can go for the 50-50 balls.
Yeah, because as big as Gilmore is, he's way technical. You know what I mean? Like as big as he is, he's not a brute by any means. Yeah, he could jam you at the line, but like, he could also play off coverage. He could play man. He could, he's just very technical. You know what I mean?
He's a Belichick player.
Exactly. And like, Belichick used to play against him in when he was with Buffalo, so he was like, I need to get this man. You know what I mean? Okay, so going back to the question, is Devontae Parker's value tied to the Magic Man? Because people are thinking that it's a blip. There's too many people that were burned over the years by Devontae Parker. There's people that were burned by the Magic Man. So they kind of look at last year's breakout like it was a blip and it's not repeatable. But I actually believe it's repeatable. And, I know it's not my turn to answer it, but I do want to add that I love Parker's value in fantasy being like a late mid-rounder. You know what I mean? Like 7th, 8th round, he's hanging around there. You know what I mean?
Yep. That is his ADP.
Yeah.
Let's say this. Last year he was a top 10 wide receiver in fantasy.
Yeah.
Right? So now he's in the 7th round. He goes to he has a new offensive coordinator. We talked about Gailey, right? Gailey, if you go back to his time in Buffalo with the Jets, he throws 58% of the time.
Yep.
Well, I don't know. If I play fantasy football, I know about volume, and I want opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
So Devontae Parker should be doing very well. And then to answer your question, like, let's say Fitzpatrick isn't there, even though he's made great fantasy numbers, like if people like Deshaun Jackson, people like Mike Evans, I mean, people like Brandon Marshall, Devontae Parker, like he's had people that he's lit up before, and the fantasy world has taken notice. It's not the first time he's ever done it. It's not a fluke. But let's say Fitzpatrick isn't there. Tua, right? Now, Tua, we don't, doubt, anyone has no doubts about his talent. It's the injury bug.
Yeah, that is true.
And not just talent. I mean, and now if you go to his talent, I mean, this guy's one of the most prolific college players to ever play the game. Well, I mean, the stats don't lie. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in college history, if not the most accurate of all time. Or whatever his quarterback rating.
Yeah, he definitely was. His QBR rating was historic for that 1 year.
Okay, so he has all the talent. He has great ball placement. That's one of the. I mean, if I have a quarterback and I want a franchise quarterback, all these guys want the big arm quarterback, the fastest receiver. I don't buy all that crap all the time.
Give me the Drew Brees type.
Exactly. Give me that guy. Give me a leader, and he has leadership qualities. Tua does. He has a special aura to him that people are, drawn to. And when people are drawn to you at the quarterback position, they're gonna believe in you. And then you have a coach like Coach Flo. It's a match made in heaven. Doesn't matter who's there at quarterback, Fitzpatrick or Tua. It's great leadership. People won games with the Dolphins because of Fitzpatrick's leadership. He was like, "Hey boys, we're gonna win this. No one thinks about it, but we're gonna play, backyard football. Follow the plays. We work hard. We are all pros." And gonna go at it. So to me, to answer your question, it doesn't matter if Tua is there or Fitzpatrick because Tua is more than capable, and I think he's the best quarterback in this draft.
And I think also the Magic Man's not shady. Like he'll lace game to Tua.
Exactly. He's not Aaron Rodgers being a little diva or Ben Roethlisberger.
Hey, don't talk about Aaron Rodgers, the 49ers' future quarterback.
Hey, you had your chance to draft him.
I know, right? He's still mad till this day.
But no, let's be honest though. Like, yeah, man. Like Aaron Rodgers and Big Ben, they don't want to take that role. But Fitzpatrick is perfect. Now, of course, Fitzpatrick's not on their level. These are Super Bowl quarterbacks I just mentioned. But he is, a journeyman. But he deserves respect. He deserves respect because Fitzpatrick is a baller. We've seen what he did in fantasy. The last 8 weeks, he was one of the top 10 quarterback. If you had Fitzpatrick last year, he did better than Russell Wilson in the stretch when it mattered the most.
Yep, in the dance. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Like Ryan Tannehill and Fitzpatrick were like the best quarterbacks last year at the end when it all mattered the most.
Yep, weeks 13 through 16 when you know what I'm saying when all the chips are on the line. The Magic Man, he was strapping that chin strap and that beard, shaking off all the magic dust out of said beard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I actually have a theory that he keeps all his magic dust in that beard. You know what I'm saying?
He does.
Yeah. Okay, Sin City, what you got for me?
As far as Parker?
Yeah, like do you ultimately think Ryan Fitzpatrick is the reason why Devontae Parker broke out? Like, do you think Devontae Parker's fantasy value, or because this is a fantasy question, do you think his fantasy value is only tied to the Magic Man?
I don't think so. I think I'm going to give credit to that coaching staff. Now, I think that, it's hard to say though because we don't really know. The Magic Man is very inconsistent. I mean, either he's at the top of the mountain or he fell all the way off. It's like
sometimes he runs out of magic dust, like after 4 weeks.
Exactly. It's like, he got it. Like you said, the chin strap. He just take it off and bam. He's David Blaine. But to be honest, I think that to answer the question, I wouldn't trust him because there's a question whether he's only good with Fitzmagic. And that's I don't want that on my lineup if I got to depend on that quarterback for your success. Because like you said, you've been burned before, and I don't draft Parker. I haven't drafted a Miami player in a while, to be honest, and I'm not seeing any value in him. There's a lot of other players. There's some rookies that I might take prior to that, and I'm not even, no cap, but I want to give the coaching staff a little more credit and not put it all behind, Fitzmagic, but It's a good question, and I got to see this season. But again, I wouldn't trust it.
So
the quarterback.
he's on your avoid list in that sense. Like unless let's say you're in the 9th round in a 12-team redraft, would you pull the trigger on Devontae Parker? Like people are just disrespecting him by then.
No, I wouldn't pull the trigger.
I love it. He sticks to his guns.
No,
Sin City sticks to his guns. I love it.
I wouldn't pull the trigger on Parker.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, okay. Well, so here's my take on this. Is I'm actually kind of cheating because I wait to go last, where I could be like, because I actually want to backpack off of what Banks said because, man, he brought up a good point. Tua is deadly accurate, and like, your accuracy is important because I mean I don't know how much this weighs in, but like he is a lefty, and I'm wondering if like the adjustments, if there's certain adjustments receivers have to make to a left-handed passer. But if you're accurate, you're accurate. That's something you can't coach. You can, if you're a quarterback and you have fumbling issues, you can coach that up. If you're a quarterback and you don't check it down, you always run like Tua used to do, you can coach that up. But accuracy is something they just have. You know what I mean? So I will say I believe with Parker's value, with all the recency bias over the years that people just don't want to look at Miami Dolphins players in general, I will say he's one of the greatest values, just like he was the waiver wire pickup of the century last year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Look, it's still like some ifs, and I mean, so when is he playing? And if so, like, what was the adjustment like? I mean, he's accurate. I get it. You can be accurate on all levels, but there's more to it, man. I mean, these players are faster. It's a different game. You got to learn to do things different. Trust me. Like,
let's talk about. Let's break down the schematics, right? So, I do respect what B. Flores is doing. And mind you, I am a crazy asshole where like I might get drunk on certain things. In this case, I'm actually excited for the Dolphins this year. People are automatically crowning the Buffalo Bills. I think, one of my dark horses, granted, they're at the bottom of my list as far as dark horses in the AFC, but I'm looking at the Dolphins because they addressed the line. You know what I'm saying? They got young on the line. You know what I'm saying? So, and they got a young QB. You know what I'm saying? They went and addressed their secondary. They brought in Byron Jones, from your Cowboys, who's going to play second fiddle to Xavier Howard, who's a top 3 cornerback to me. You know what I mean? They brought in a guy who's kind of iffy to me. I forget his name. He was like your guy. It was like the 29th pick overall. Remember?
Yeah. I can't even pronounce his name, but yeah.
Yeah, but he's going to play nickel. So all of a sudden, this secondary might be like revamped. You brought in a bunch of cats, from New England that know the system, Super Bowl winning guys under B. Flores in the Patriots. So they're bringing that same culture, this winning culture. You know what I mean? The one thing I do want to worry about with Parker or just any of the receiving options in general is that if this defense has them in games, we might not see the passing volume as high as it was when they were playing from behind a ton. You know what I mean?
I mean, I want to say one quick thing about this real quick with this quarterback situation because I think that's important with these receivers. Now, again, if Tua's, it's an if. Like Fitzpatrick, okay, it's if he's good or not, right? Tua, would he sprint? He's been injured how many times? So, like, what's the guarantee? So you could pick. I mean, you may end up dropping him. So I'm not saying that there's absolutely zero value, but I'm just not high on a player that with a quarterback situation like Miami where, to me, I don't trust Tua. Is he hurt or not? He has a history of being hurt, and then Fitzpatrick. Is he on the mound or off?
Yeah,
and then you even ask the question for Parker. Do you have to ask that question with, like, Hopkins? No. You don't have to ask the question with certain people, but with him you do. And it's like, that's why there's other players that I think you can catch.
Low key.
So that's what I'm going to leave it with.
I'm glad that you brought up Hopkins because before DeAndre Watson came in the picture, my man Nuke Skywalker, we've seen him catch balls from Brian Hoyer, Tom Macho Man Savage, Who else? Goddamn
Osweiler?
Case Keenum,
What,
Brock,
Rob,
the
right?
Brock Lobster. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like where it was
Rob,
like,
I think.
yeah, and then so it was like, with that said, I'm not even afraid that he's going to Kyler Murray because, you know what I'm saying? It's like, we've seen him do it with less. You know who I also will say this for? I will say this for Allen Robinson. We've seen Allen Robinson catch balls from goddamn Blake Bortles. You know what I'm saying? And then Chase Daniels, Mitchell Trubisky. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Nick Foles may very well be the best passer that gets to throw him the ball if he can be under center. And then so now relating this to Parker, maybe Parker is kind of, I mean, because, who did he have? Tannehill, Jay Cutler, you know what I mean? And I think Ryan Fitzpatrick might have been the best quarterback throwing him the ball so far in his career. And he finally broke out.
Well, would you pick him up in the 9th round?
Fuck yeah. He would be like because in that case, he's probably my 4th receiver, you know what I mean? And strategically, I would wait till a big game, and if I was in the Sin City mind state, I would wait, and I had him on my bench. I would wait till he had a big game and then throw him in a package deal. You know what I mean? And trade him off. Because in fantasy, everybody's for sale. You know what I mean? You just gotta wait till their market value rises, and then you sell high, or you buy low. Like say there's somebody. Because here's the one thing too is as I like to look at the player matchups. You know what I mean? If Devontae Parker has a string of like easy cornerbacks that he's gonna face, I might trade for him, or at least in this case on daily fantasy, I'd be plugging him in there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's switch gears. Let's switch gears to Dallas, to Big D. You know what I'm saying? You guys obviously got the same offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore. He's returning. So the game plan shouldn't be so different. And with that said, I know that there's some bullshit going on what they're doing with Dak, and there's the agent is probably, pun intended, the agent of madness in this case, where it's like they probably could have got this deal done, and then because with a new head coaching change with Mike McCarthy, you still want to get acclimated. You know what I mean? There's still going to be a culture change, right? So now.
Right.
Now, with that said, I mean, this question isn't about Dak. This question is actually about Zeke. You know what I mean? With Mike McCarthy coming in there, and they're religiously gonna run 3 wide receiver sets. And I know you guys had Fredericks retire. Tyron Smith has been banged up. He hasn't played a full 16 in a couple years. I mean, so that line already has some questions. And when Mike McCarthy, his time in Green Bay, that line was more so predicated on being able to pass protect versus run block. So with the 3 wide receiver sets and less 12 personnel, because Jason Garrett would run 12 personnel to help block for Zeke. You know what I mean? Like with all these things, with all these variables, do you think Zeke will finish, out of the top 5? Because he's definitely a top 3 pick, and this is kind of a loaded question. I mean, do you think his production will take a hit? Because I mean, like, I can't really remember a Green Bay Packers running back that not even Eddie Lacy. You know what I mean? Like, not even Aaron Jones. Like, I can't remember if a guy in fantasy that you would draft high and would return the value. And in this case, you know what I'm saying? Being a more balanced offense, remember you guys used to be more run dominant, and you guys are definitely 4,900 yards through the air. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, Zeke still had 300 carries last year, but I mean, and 52 receptions. But am I crazy thinking because of the new system coming there that Zeke might take a hit?
No, and the reason I'm saying no is because first off, Ezekiel Elliott had over 1,300 yards last season. 12 touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
Now, you say we're going to run a 3 receiver set. Well, that is true because from what I'm seeing, I mean, we don't know 100%, but Mike McCarthy looks like he is going to be calling plays. Now, with that being said, I mean, he did have Ryan Grant in the past. I know that was a while ago.
Yep.
And Ryan Grant actually kind of went off a couple seasons. I mean, he had back-to-back seasons over 1,200 yards.
That's a good point. Good point. Good callback with Ryan Grant.
Oh yeah, man, he was great with Ryan Grant, and he had 12 touchdowns. I mean, in the course of those 2 seasons, he had 15 touchdowns. Zeke had he had 12 touchdowns last year, and we're talking Zeke. Now, obviously, this would mean that Dallas's offense is going to have to be one of the best of all time, even better than last season. I mean, we averaged about 27 last year.
Points, right?
430 yards, I believe.
Yep.
I mean, we lost Frederick, but we drafted another guy that's really
young
good.
kid. Yep.
Very young kid, and you got to also think with Dak Prescott, Dak Prescott, CD. We got Blake Jarwin. That's a kind of a big play threat.
Oh shit, and Bell. I forgot about Bell too, who's actually a good blocker.
Man, we have a lot of personnel, and I think that he's gonna have he's gonna be the same Zeke. Now, what I prefer, the offense be focused around Zeke. Yes, I would love to see Zeke be because a lot of me and Kevin Banks have this argument. I think Zeke he can be better. He can be better than what he is, and he hasn't put in that real like I'm like 200-yard game, 3-4 touchdowns. Where it's like, oh my God, this guy just ate the whole like he hasn't had that game where I'm like, man.
He did have a career low. He did have a career low on runs like under 15 yards last year. And but I think we just been spoiled by Zeke, where it's like, he breaks those off religiously before. So, yeah, okay, continue.
Yeah, man, and like I said, there's people like Nick Chubb out there who's doing exactly, I know he's consistent, but again, to get back to the question, yeah, he's going to have the opportunities. He's going to have the opportunities to catch the ball. He's going to have the opportunities to be implemented into the offense in a more strategic way because we have an actual coach who's won NFC championship games, divisional games, wild card games, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say with Jason Garrett is...
And he definitely won't be clapping his hands all day.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy's team is about his business, man. Now, what you got to think, Amari Cooper, great receiver, he somewhat falls off at the end of the season.
Yeah,
so
he goes from Cooper to the pooper scooper, as I like to call him.
Exactly. Now you got a rookie who I think is going to have a pretty decent season. We'll see if he can find a spot.
Oh yeah,
and then
we're going to talk about lamb chops a little later. We're definitely going to touch on lamb chops, but continue.
So I think it's going to leave opportunity with Ezekiel Elliott to just do more in the offense in smarter ways. Receiving, catching the ball, running it. They could even be in a shotgun with the 3 receivers or with the 3 receiver set and still hand them the ball. And,
it's true.
That we still got that line. I think Zeke is going to have at least 1,200 yards. I mean, if Ryan Grant could average it twice, I guarantee Zeke will have at least 1,000.
So do you think though being like a 3rd overall pick or a 4th overall pick in 12-team redraft, are you comfortable with grabbing him there? Like, say, take the homer hat off. Actually, that's a stupid question. As I know, when you do your analysis, you're not wearing the homer hat, right?
No.
Right. So, but are you comfortable if 1,300 yards is the floor? That's not bad if that's just the floor. Like, if there's still upside there.
Absolutely, because that's just rushing. So.
Okay, let me write this down. You know what I'm saying?
That's just rushing. I mean, that's just his rushing. I mean, he's going to do more within the offense. But let's see. I mean, he was targeted 39 times, it looks like, and he caught 32 of those balls. And I don't think that they did a good enough job with implementing.
39 times he caught 32 of those balls. Damn. If I had a phone that was free, I would do the math right now. That's a fucking hell of a catch percentile.
Yeah, it's 82%.
Oh, I like that. Look at that. He pulled that right out the hat. He was like, I took the Homer hat off, but I pulled it right out the hat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that.
I mean, he only had one receiving touchdown last season, so I think that Mike McCarthy is going to be like, no, we're going to make Ezekiel Elliott the number one running back over McCaffrey this season, and I think they're going to use the rest of the offense to do that. So Dak Prescott could still have another career year getting the balls to everybody, and while everybody's like, oh, gosh, we got to stop Amari Cooper in the first half of the season. Gallup is on his way up. CD is like, Blake, is he getting over the defense? And then it's like, dang, Zeke. So I think he's going to eat. Play action. It's a lot that's going to happen, man.
Okay, I'm not mad at
The
that.
dream tops work for us, too.
Okay, Kevin Banks. Are we banking on this? Are we banking on this?
Oh, man, look. Last year, I had Zeke as my number one rated player in fantasy, right?
So did I. Coming off a 70 reception year. Fuck yeah, I was there with you.
Yeah.
But I will say this. My bad. Real quick. I will say I had him ranked number one overall. As soon as he started to not go to camp and preseason, then I bumped CMC up immediately, and then I was glad because it made me look smart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
Well, so Zeke, it's funny you bring that up too because the whole fantasy world was tripping. They're like, yo, what's going to happen with Zeke? He ain't signing. And, I was talking to my boys, and I was just like, yo, check it out. Stop tripping. Jerry Jones does it all the time. Like, history repeats itself. Numbers repeat themselves. This is why people are advancing, bro. They're looking at the metrics. Like, y'all got to see what always happens, probability, and Jerry Jones pays his people. I was never tripping about Zeke missing games. This is not an Emmitt Smith situation because, even Jerry Jones had to write that check when they got those couple losses. Cowboy fans remember that. Like, he wasn't going to do that. He wasn't going to make that mistake, and, he paid his people. So, I was like, yo, get Zeke. And I had an experts league, right? And somebody drafted Zeke before I could get him. And I was kind of upset, right? So I was like, man, I got to make a trade. I made an offer. This guy was a Steeler fan. So I had James Conner. I drafted him in the second, third round, whatever it was. I forget. And I'm like, yo, Zeke is maybe not going to sign. This is the perfect time. I was like, I'll give you James Conner and someone else. Let's make the deal happen. We did. He thought Zeke was not going to sign. And that was a great win for me. Getting Zeke on my team. And I was in my experts league. I was talking my shit. You best believe it, bro. Because I was like, y'all didn't believe. I was telling my followers, you got to believe in Zeke. Look, let me go even further. This guy is averaging in his career 4.6 per carry. Are you fucking kidding me? This guy is the most consistent player when it comes to fantasy. You want availability and ability. He has both. He's been doing this for a very long time at a very high level. It's disrespectful. Actually, to me, he's the best running back in the game. I know people are going to say McCaffrey and all. No, I go for who's been doing it the longest.
I got a hot take. I think Nick Chubb will give him a run for the money.
Ooh.
Can I quickly just say one quick thing, real quick, if you don't mind?
Go ahead, Sin City.
When I was telling you his accuracy on that 82%, that was just his rookie season. Because like you said, last season he was targeted 71 times, caught 54, so that's still 76. That rookie season is still better than Ryan Grant's any season. So that was the point that I was trying to make.
In an offense that had Aaron Rodgers even.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. Valid points. See, Kevin Banks. I think he's trying to put in his resume to be the lead analytics. You know what I'm saying? We gotta look over his resume. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Continue, Banks.
All right, man. So look, check it out. So Zeke is the best in the game, bro. He's been doing this for a long time. Like I said, my philosophy in fantasy football is availability and ability. Zeke possesses both of them. He's doing it for a very long time with his consistency. I mean, now you were talking about, all right, we got this three-headed monster at the wide receiver position. You don't think that defensive coordinators are scared shitless versus looking at the Cowboys,
Very good point.
Like now people are there's gonna be nickel packages out there. There's gonna be more cornerbacks and safeties and whatnot
Wow.
out there.
So we're gonna see he's gonna see a higher percentage of 6-man boxes, is what you're saying.
Oh, there we go. Exactly. So, and what is he gonna do? He's going to eat, man. Let's not forget, last year he was not in the best shape of his life. He was working out, but he wasn't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we didn't see him in no crop tops. You know what I mean? So he definitely wasn't.
Yeah, like he had to be with the team to be the best, and we seen it over and over again. When these guys leave and hold out, it doesn't always work the best for them. And so now he's with the team and all that. I mean, Zeke is just the dude, man. Like people gotta stop disrespecting
He's
this
the
man.
guy.
He is the most consistent dude out here. He don't, knock on wood, he don't get hurt. And somehow he always avoids suspension when he was, had a little,
a little
incident here and there.
scuffles. You know what I mean?
Just a couple, man, but I mean, my dude is the guy, bro. Like, he is a star. He's with the Dallas Cowboys. Like, like there was Emmitt Smith, and Zeke is just like, following that legacy, man.
And Jerry Jones, ever since he's been in the picture, he's been trying to rebuild his new version of the triplets, and he's had it right with Zeke for sure. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Now he got triplets at the right receiver position, even better for Zeke. My point. That's it.
Man, you know what, man? Like I said, I might pull the cheat code on this one because I got to go after you two gentlemen with your fine takes. I can't disagree. You know what I mean? I love the fact that he's gonna see like 6-man boxes religiously. You know what I mean? I that line still is phenomenal. And you know what? When you're a line that is has more threats down the field, the wear and tear isn't gonna be so heavy on someone like a Tyron Smith. You know what I mean? Because we've seen what happens when he goes down. You know what I mean? Dak's going down. You know what I mean? And I will say this too, man. Like, you get this is one thing. Side note: I think Dak's leverage is gone because of the fact they got the red rifle. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it don't matter who's under center or who's in the shotgun or who's calling the signals, whatever have you, who's the starter. It don't matter. Zeke's going to be the most consistent one out of all the weapons on offense. I'm no longer afraid to pull him up 3rd overall because I've found myself being like, I might look at Dalvin Cook here and then just secure Alexander Madison later. You know what I mean?
Don't do it. Zeke is better.
Yeah, it looks like they've got Dalvin Cook right above him in ADP.
But I will say, though, whether we're talking Zeke or Dalvin Cook, make sure you pair them up somewhere later on in the draft with an Alexander Madison or a Tony Pollard. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you want that. Especially when you've seen someone like Tony Pollard flash or seen someone like Alexander Madison flash in an offense that, you know what I'm saying, and these two offenses that are going to emphasize the run to a degree. Of course, Minnesota's going to emphasize the run more, but goddamn, we're talking about, close to a 50-50 ratio of run versus pass. Zeke's still going to eat, man. And he's going to eat, it's an offense that's going to be able to move the ball. Man, matter of fact, I think Zeke might even hurt Dak more than anything in fantasy because they'll probably pound it in more with having 3 phenomenal wide receivers and Blake Jarwin running around in the end zone. They're going to lose. They're going to lose. Someone's going to lose sight of, or not lose sight. What's the word I'm looking for? Someone's going to lose track of Zeke, and he's just gonna waltz in that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Okay. Well, let's go on back to the bank. Back to, what I'm saying, the piggy bank picks, right? We're going back talking about some Dolphins, all right?
Let's go.
Okay, so there is some new additions over there in that backfield. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And you are definitely, you are definitely someone who pointed out Chan Gailey earlier. And I can remember Chan Gailey with the Buffalo Bills with Stevie Jackson. What's his name? Stevie Jackson.
Johnson, right?
There's Stevie Johnson, Steve Jackson. There you go.
Steve Jackson.
And CJ Spiller. You know what I mean?
DJ Spiller.
I remember those days. You know what I'm saying? I remember Bilal Powell with the Jets. I remember with what was old boy too? Chris Ivory. You know what I mean? So now in this case, Chan Gailey got Jordan Howard, Matt Breida, and goddamn Patrick the Player Laird. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I like to give my own ignorant nicknames. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's my downfall when I give a nickname to a player and I love it so much, I gotta have the guy. You know what I mean? But anyways, right? So we got Matt Breida, Jordan Howard, Patrick Laird. They're all different style running backs. Maybe more similar Breida and Laird, but who do we think is going to carry the most fantasy value? Because all these guys are later in drafts, if they're being drafted, if that. But I mean, just we'll start with you, Kevin Banks.
All
I
right.
mean, should we be looking at any of these guys at all? Like, obviously as fillers or bench spots, or but also to the actual original question, like, who do you think will have the most fantasy output and or value even?
Yeah. All right. Now, as a Miami Dolphins fan, man, you got to look at the coach, right? And we talked about Gailey. I just said that they throw 58% of the time.
Ooh, so you gotta look at the passing options in the running game.
Exactly. No, exactly. But now let's look at that as well. So let's break down these players. Jordan Howard is a pretty good pass blocker. He's actually one of the top running backs.
Dang, so he might be there on the third down.
Exactly. But then you got to look at Matt Breida. Like, yeah, he could catch the ball too. But then, as a rushing option, I mean, the guy averages 5.0.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly, and you know the speed that he possesses.
Yeah, he's the NFC cheetah before.
Exactly. So now you got Jordan Howard, and Jordan Howard's gonna give you 3 yards, like that.
Yeah, he's a glorified plotter.
Exactly. So now you got to see, like, all right, so passing downs, if you want to protect Tua or Fitzpatrick, you might have Howard out there because that makes a lot more sense.
Ooh, good point.
Exactly. But then also, like I said, I don't like the scarcity of the running options. There's not too many running backs that have, really succeeded under Gailey in fantasy options. Like, remember, we had all this hype on C.J. Spiller, but what happened? He was a bust.
Yeah.
So
Steve Jackson too. Steve Jackson, he flashed, but it was always like it was never one of them can carry a load neither.
And then let's look at historically too. Like, the Dolphins haven't had a real running back. Like, it's scattered. Like, last one that did pretty decent in fantasy was Jay Ajayi, right? And then before that, you got to go all the way back to like Ricky Williams and Ronnie Brown. Like, it's been
Ricky. Shout out to Ricky. I've smoked weed with him.
Hey, that's what's up, bro.
Fun fact.
Ricky's one of my favorite players of all time.
I love Ricky Williams.
Yeah, awesome dude, man. I love this 30.
I walked by him in Las Vegas one time. Yeah. We were all at a porn convention. This is when I used to work for an online magazine. Real quick side story. And I'm from the Bay Area, California, so we're all from California, right? Or we all reside in the right? So yes, you know what I'm saying? And my show is actually sponsored by a CBD brand, so I indulge, you know what I mean? So anyways, long story longer, I walked by him smelling like a cloud of good, and he was like, "Where's it at?" And I'm like, "Let's go smoke, Ricky Williams." You know what I'm saying? And I burned up with Ricky. You know what I mean? Walked into the parking lot, and security came out, tried to say shit, and he was like, and then they recognized him, and then I just walked away. I was like, "Go away." I was like, "I gotta move fast," because I had a pocket full of all kind of isms that could have got me arrested. So I fucking scurried off while he just gave autographs and shit in a cloud of smoke. But yeah, okay, so continue.
Yeah, man. So, like, Dolphin running backs haven't been that kind. I mean, you saw Kenyon Drake leave and then have success. Running backs haven't been used that great as of late for the Miami Dolphins. And, man, like, it's a committee. I don't really like any of them, to be quite honest. I wouldn't be like, yo, go get this guy in fantasy. I think there's better options out there.
So are you pushing the avoid button on the backfield?
Man, I proceed with caution.
Well, at least in the draft, right? Like, maybe waiver wire pickups, word, you know what I mean? Because they'll probably be floating around.
They'll be there. I had these conversations with other people too. Like, I don't believe in drafting rookie wide receivers because I feel like they're going to be there in the waiver wire anyways.
Yeah.
So I feel the same way about these Miami Dolphin running backs. They're going to be dropped, picked up multiple times, guarantee it.
Solid advice. This Playmakers. Listen up, Playmakers. This is one of the reasons. This is one of the many reasons why, and all their takes that you've heard so far, Playmakers. This is the exact reason why I reached out to these fine gentlemen, because you know what I'm saying. I would love to bring value to the consumer. You know what I mean? Continue.
But yeah, man. So like, definitely like the Miami Dolphins. Like, you just got to stay away from those running backs. I don't really approve of them like that, man. Proceed with caution. I understand their scarcity, but that's why you got to have a strategy when you go into these drafts, man. Don't make it seem like, damn, I have to get this guy now, because there's people with ADPs that I'll take on my bench. Like, I love the James Whites later on. I'll take a chance on Philip Lindsay because Philip Lindsay's got 1,000 yards before. I know Melvin Gordon's there, but I'll put him on my bench. Like, you got to have these guys that have been there before and done things, and there's guys in that back end that I still would take a chance on.
Hey, well said. I will bank on that. Sin City.
Man, I wouldn't trust a running back in Miami. Somebody that I'm high on, and I have did a post recently was Marlon Mack, and it looks like his ADP is about 84K.
I seen that.
Absolutely, and then you got Matt Breida, 88, and then you still got Jordan Howard, 95 ADP. So I would go Marlon Mack prior to that. I think it's a better situation. I don't even know.
They're kind of the same guy too, right? They're guys that kind of have trash hands, but at the same time, I will agree with you on the Marlon Mack versus Jordan Howard, because if I want to bank on the line, that's the best run blocking line in the game in Indy.
They still have a solid receiver. They have a solid tight end and a veteran quarterback. I'm going. That's where I'm going.
Hey, Banks, I love how he didn't even consider Parker a solid number one. He was like, the Colts have a solid number one.
I know, right? But to be honest, that could be a little my competitiveness talking right now.
Yeah, I love it. This is great. This is great content. This is great. I feel like I'm at home with you guys.
But I mean, there may be something there with Parker. Again, it's just a little inconsistent for me personally. And there's a couple other people that I like. It's a lot of other people there, actually. Again, Devontae Parker is above Jarvis Landry right now in ADP. I'm not. I'm
Jarvis. But I do want to argue this. I mean, I know we're not talking about Parker per se, but I will say I would rather have Parker over Jarvis Landry, because now Kevin Stefanski's going over there. It's going to be a run-first team, and you couple that with the fact that Landry is coming off of a significant injury and surgery. I think, if I remember correctly. Oh, maybe not surgery, but a procedure or some shit. He's coming off an injury for sure, a hip.
Yep.
Landry's pretty consistent.
But
I can see that.
But I think Landry's consistency does actually, go all the way back to his time in Miami. You know what I mean?
Ironically.
There's sweet irony. I love it. Bro. This is a great show. I'm all patting myself on the back. I knew these guys were great. This is fucking awesome. Okay, continue, Sin City.
Yeah, so, So, when it comes to that, and then, Kevin Banks, I haven't been following the Dolphins lately. It's been a lot of teams I've been checking out. Who's starting? Are they going to run? Is it running back by committee, or who's the bona fide starter?
Man, I think they're going to pencil in Jordan Howard as the starter. But, I mean, it's going to be a running back by committee for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just because I mentioned before about the blocking ability of Howard, I think it's going to be, maybe like a 60-40, 55-45. I don't know, somewhere in that range.
I mean, but that's the thing. If the question is those two, you might be able to sneak in somebody like, maybe, I don't know. It's a couple other people. A lot of people may not be that high on Kareem Hunt. I don't know, but based off what you guys just said,
I'm taking Kareem Hunt for all the reasons.
A lot of people may not be.
Kareem Hunt is definitely. I will say Kareem Hunt is just going back to talking about Alexander Madison. Being tying him to Dalvin Cook or tying Tony Pollard to Zeke. I will spend the 6th or 7th round draft capital if I have Nick Chubb, because of the level of talent that Kareem Hunt has. And if you want to look back at Stefanski's time in Minnesota, the 8 to 10 touches that Alexander Madison averaged did never affect Dalvin Cook. So, Kareem Hunt is a flex even if you don't have Nick Chubb. I actually find myself in mock drafts drafting Nick Chubb and not even be able to get Kareem Hunt because someone else will grab him. You know what I mean?
I love Kareem Hunt.
I love Kareem Hunt. Or as I like to say, Kareem, get the money. Dollar bill, y'all.
Exactly, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. So now we're going to go ahead and switch gears back to this last. it's basically the second to the last segment because I do want to wax poetic a little bit after this last segment. So, we did touch on lamb chops a little bit earlier. Oh, actually, you know what? Before we get to that, let me get my take. I am kind of wearing my Homer hat where I love Matt Breida, and with Banks talking about the 58% pass ratio to run. You know what I'm saying? So what's that? That's 58 to 30, no, to 42%, right? Yep. And I will take the best pass catching running back in that backfield, and then because he is being drafted. Matt Breida does get drafted, anywhere between the 10th and 12th round in 12-team redraft. So I'll make mine short and sweet. I would take a shot on Matt Breida as a bench guy because, we remember Patrick Laird. Remember when it was Patrick Laird towards the end of the season? He would just, the Magic Man would take shots at him in the red. So I think they would definitely, Breida's gonna surpass him on the depth chart and play that role. But the pass protecting aspect, I do remember Matt Breida. He wasn't the greatest pass protector. So, and the biggest bamboozle, the biggest fugazi on defensive coordinators would be to be like, okay, they got Jordan Howard. He's out there on third down. They're not going to pass it to him. And then, he'll catch a ball or two and score a touchdown. We've seen him do that with the Eagles. We've seen him do that with the Bears. But he does have trash hands, but still, nonetheless, like, people wouldn't suspect it. So, you know what? I digress because now I just argue with myself. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's go on to my man CD Lamb, or as I like to call him, Lamb Chops. Because he does have receiving chops. He is the new addition to the 88 club. You know what I'm saying? So now here, it's a loaded question. As the new member of the 88 club, do you think it's a lot of pressure on a rookie having to follow the likes of like Dez or like Michael Irvin, players like that? This is like a quick hitter question.
Nah, I don't think so. I think when you know you're great, it don't matter. If you the younger brother of a great and you want to fill those shoes, if you think you're great and you say, yo, this is the family legacy, put this on. I'm putting it on and I'm gonna carry it high and be great.
And Michael Irvin seems to like. Michael Irvin seems to seem like, he spent time in Miami too, because he's forever coked out, right? He be on one, bro. He be hyped up like, hey, look here, CeeDee Lamb. Look here, CeeDee Lamb. You the next one. You the next one. 88 club.
One, bro. Who knows?
Okay, no, my bad. Continue.
Him and Adam Gase.
Yeah, man. I just think that
Adam Gase got them wide eyes. I see what you did there.
He never offered. He gave Amari Cooper $100 million, but he didn't give him the jersey. He gave Gallup a shot, bro, but he didn't let him get that shit. He sees something in Lamb where you like, bro, put this on, trust me. And
he was sitting on that yacht.
He's not a dumb dude.
Hey, Uncle Jerry was sitting on that yacht, and he had that jersey ready. He was like, I'm giving this to young Lamb Chops. You know what I mean?
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, Banks, you think he'll live up to the 88 club hype?
Man, I believe so. I think he was arguably the best receiver in the draft. I believe he was drafted 17th overall. The Miami Dolphins had the 18th pick. I was pissed as hell that he went off the board because I would have loved to pair him up with Tua. But I think this guy is going to definitely go and be great, man. There's no pressure. He is the third receiver, on a great offense that we just said has Zeke, and we haven't even talked about the greatness of Dak because I think that he's showing us right in front of us. This guy that was a day 2 pick is becoming great, and that's why he wants this contract, and deservedly so. But he got that chip on his shoulder, and I feel like CeeDee Lamb, man, is going to do great things from the number 88. I mean, when someone, passes that legacy, you got to, honor it. My boy Terrell Davis, shout out to TD, man. One of the greats ever to do it. He gave it to Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, he sure did.
So that's respect. And, Philip Lindsay, in my eyes, that's why I love his ADP and I love the player, even though Melvin Gordon's there. The guy got 1,000 yards and he can catch the ball. He is the new running back. And I love it, man. So, yeah, I think CeeDee Lamb is going to do great things, bro. Don't expect so much year 1, bro, but the long haul, he's going to honor that 88 for sure.
I do. So here's my take. I do love the fact that it is McCarthy and he runs 3 wide receiver sets religiously, because I do remember Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, and a young Devontae Adams, and that's kind of how I envision year one. Like, you know, he might take a little while to get acclimated, but he's gonna get the weaker coverage, and like, you know, he's gonna eat, especially with someone like Dak, who is a great passer, dude. Give the man his bag, god damn it. But okay, here's an off the script question. This is another quick hitter one. Do we feel like certain legends, like if you're a Michael Irvin, do you feel like they should have retired 88? Like, I mean, like, I feel like there'll never be another 12 in New England. There'll never be another 16 in San Francisco. Like, Dallas don't do that though, huh?
Nah, they don't retire numbers. That's why Zeke got that 21. You know what I mean?
Is that more Uncle Jerry trying to replicate the triplets?
Retire with Drew Carson.
That's a good point. And run that back one more time, because that was a solid point for the Playmakers.
What? Say that one more time?
No. I wanted you, my bad, because I was a little. I heard you, but I was talking over you a little bit. I just want to get, because that was actually a solid take. I want you to repeat that one more time for the Playmakers.
Man, so exactly. If the number 88 should have been retired, it would have been Drew Carson. And the next one, it definitely would have been Urban. When it comes to that 21, they should have automatically did Deion.
He threw it all the way. That's another good callback with Drew Parson. That's right.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, but Dallas don't do that. They don't retire numbers. I don't know why, to be honest. I think it's the jersey sales, honestly. But
true.
And if it is,
good point. Because you know he is a marketing genius. That Jerry Jones. I feel like Jerry Jones kicks it with Vince McMahon. Well, because Vince McMahon can sell anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Besides XFL.
And when he finally seemed to have it right, the Corona shut that thing down.
All bad.
Okay, Banks.
Hey, that's a meme. That's a meme right there, Banks.
What you know, man. I'm on it.
Banks, so what you think? You think the numbers being retired is like overrated, or you think that's every team except for the Cowboys?
Man, look, to me, retiring a number, respect. That's what it is, bro. It's respect to, you know, who wore that, the blood, sweat, and tears that went into that, what he gave to the city, what he gave to the fans. I think it's respect. The Cowboys don't do it. I'm no one to judge. I mean, Jerry Jones, he to me is the godfather of the NFL and the reason why it's the most lucrative sport. This man knows about investments, about marketing, and about, you know, getting sponsors. Jerry Jones, all hats to him, because, I mean, this dude is a genius. But, yeah, like, bro, I think it's respect when you retire a number. Like you said, like Tom Brady, you know that's going to be hung up. You know, Joe Montana, hung up. Like, you know, I think they have a ring of honor like most teams.
Yeah.
Cowboys do. But, you know, Michael Irvin, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, those guys all deserve to have their stuff, you know, put up, man. Like, I mean, I know it's in the Hall of Fame, but, you know, I think it's just a respect factor. But I ain't mad at you if you don't, you know, put the number and retire. But because we have a cool story to talk about that. Yo, could these next players, you know, hold the legacy and, you know, carry it on?
Yeah.
And Jerry Jones is banking on that because he wants to see, you know, some more Super Bowls. But, hey, man, not everyone is Jimmy, and he found that out with, you know, this last beta male that he had as a coach.
Not everyone is Jimmy Johnson. Legend.
Yeah, Jimmy, man.
Who actually was the only one to be able to fill shoes of another legend, a great, rest in peace, Don Shula. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now, this is the second to the last segment, because the last segment kind of doesn't really have anything to do with fantasy football, but, you know, we did all speak highly of CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, wait.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. All right, so we all did speak pretty highly on CeeDee Lamb, a.k.a. Lamb Chops, with his receiving chops, right? Drawing the DeAndre Hopkins comparison, all that shit, right? If and when we look at him in fantasy, where are we drafting him, like comfortably? Or if not, are we going to go with Banks's take on rookie receivers and just wait till someone drops him? Because he is being drafted. He's 100% getting drafted in redraft. Obviously, we don't need to speak on Dynasty because he's getting drafted in Dynasty, obviously. But I mean, in 12-team redraft, because that's what I normally specialize in. That's why I actually put it in parentheses when I sent the question, because I was like, oh, let me preference this. You know what I mean? So, like, are we looking at CeeDee Lamb? And if we are, when do we feel comfortable drafting him?
Well, I want to quickly just say, before I get into that, I want to give you just an idea of who CD is, basically.
Okay, yeah, give the playmakers some of that ism.
Absolutely, man. I believe when he first went to Oklahoma, it was 2017. He had somewhere around 800 yards, 7 touchdowns, right? Go to his last season, he had 1,300 yards, and he doubled his touchdowns at 14. That was his last season. So he's obviously learned something and developed over his time in Oklahoma. Now I'm gonna shift over to last year, the same position that he's gonna play with Randall Cobb last year. Randall Cobb almost had 1,000 yards. You wouldn't even have known it.
And he played 16 too.
Yards and 3 touchdowns. So 828 and 3 touchdowns. That's not bad. I'm gonna also take you back a little bit to Cole. I'm telling you slot positions to give you an idea.
Are you talking about the rap? Are you talking about the hip hop legend Cole Beasley?
The rapper, bro. You already know.
He kind of has bars though.
I heard him.
No, I mean he's better than Le'Veon Bell as far as rapping. Le'Veon Bell's songs are tighter. You know what I mean? Le'Veon Bell is a song. He could write a song. You know what I mean? Like, but as far as like actually rap skills, I'll give it to Beasley.
I can't rap, bro. Let's be real.
They both can't rap, but I mean, if we're gonna go on basis of comparison,
we got to go to the NBA and pick Dame. That's the closest.
Yeah, you're right. He's gassing.
Because neither one of them.
He is gassing though. You're right.
If he sticks to the gridiron, when he first linked up with, Dak, what did he have? 75 and 833. 5 touchdowns. That's a pretty damn good season, averaging 11 yards a catch. I don't know. I think that if you give CeeDee Lamb, and then that's with Jason Garrett, that's with everything going on. Like, I think right now is going to be the
on
most
a run first offense, even.
Exactly, and that's changing up now. You got to think, people. I want to mention the defense on Dallas because that also plays a part in our offense. If teams are scoring on us, and we keep going on the field as well. Leighton Vander Esch was out for a long time, so I think the addition of
so they were playing from behind a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a different play style when we were playing up before.
Yeah, because Vander Esch, I do on a purpose. Vander Esch, he's a great run stopper, and when you can't stop the run, these opposing offenses are going to be able to have long, lengthy drives and sustained drives.
Exactly.
So you're going to be forced to throw more on offense. As far as Dallas. Yeah.
Well, as far as fantasy, that may work in his favor, obviously. But I think to go and answer your question, I think he could have a pretty good year. I think there is definitely some value in drafting him. But
where do you feel comfortable? Also, like 10th, 12th?
Comfortable, probably. If we take the hat off, I'm gonna go 11. I mean, to be honest.
Yeah, I like that. I'm not mad at that. That's actually kind of where his ADP lies.
I could see him going as high as like 9.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're in a league with Cowboys fans, for sure. For sure, because you know what is hard to take. You know what's the hardest time to take the Homer hat off? When you're in a draft. Like when Kittle's there and I'm in the late second round and Kittle's there, I'm like, I make up excuses like I need a top tier tight end. You know what I mean? I start making excuses, but it's like I should secure my run game stronger right here. But I end up getting a tight end when there's so many late round tight ends that I'm big on. But I just get my man Jorge. You know what I mean? I love Jorge.
Jorge Kittle.
Yeah.
I feel
but
it, bro.
Yeah, to be honest, man, I just to wrap it up here. Again, I'm not comparing the college to the NFL, but 1,300 yards, 14 touchdowns. Even if he gets 7 to 10, 8 to 1,000 yards, I mean, I'm expecting every receiver on Dallas to get 1,000 or close. If Randall Cobb can get 800, I think CD can actually eclipse the 1,000-yard mark, to be honest, and do some damage. So I think it could be a good pickup. And I'm interested to hear Kevin's take on this.
You know my take, bro.
Banks.
We gonna take it all the way.
He got
to
the money takes. That's what I'm gonna start calling him. Banks with the money takes.
Yeah, play that 50 in the back.
Write that down.
Yeah, let me write that down. I'll text it to you. You know what I'm saying?
For real.
But yeah, man. So this is practically. I do not draft wide receivers, bro. Rookie receivers, I do not draft them. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. Why? Why would I draft a guy that I know guaranteed was going to be on the waiver wire? Guaranteed. Every single rookie gets dropped. That's a wide receiver. Like, people want to always bring up like A.J. Brown, right? A.J. Brown was a December fantasy football, like...
He was a waiver wire gem along
pickup.
up there with the Devontae Parker. Those are weak Leonards.
Exactly. Like,
I'm so dyslexic. I said weak Leonards. Those are league winners.
Exactly. And that's my point, though, that, these great rookies emerge. I remember when Odell Beckham was a rookie, right? People were sleeping on him.
Yeah, he was hurt. He was hurt for like the first 6 to 8
4
weeks,
games.
though.
Yeah, 4 games, I believe. And
you're right. He was 4 games.
It was just great, man, when he came back and I picked him up and I won my fantasy league and he was a contributor to that. So my point is that these rookie receivers are going to emerge. Like, when people were going off of Hollywood's first performance versus the Miami Dolphins, 2 touchdowns, 100+ yards, I was like, let me pick him up. My point exactly, you did not draft him.
It's true. And then you didn't get those games.
Exactly. So,
Kevin, can I quickly ask you something?
Go ahead.
Tell me, what would a rookie have to have in his numbers for you to be like, dang, that's like, if he had, over 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Tyreek Hill was one of those guys. He was a late round gem
Amari
his
Cooper,
rookie year.
Julio Jones, Keenan Allen, Marcus Colston, AJ Green, Calvin Benjamin,
Michael Thomas even.
Michael Thomas, Mike Evans. There's a lot.
Even goddamn Kelvin Benjamin. But you know what though?
Yeah, Mike Evans, bro. Odell. It goes on.
But that was the magical year though. That was the magical 2014 season.
For Marcus Colston, for Keenan Allen, these are all magical years.
Hey, look,
you're
man,
right. Good point there, Sin City.
Every guy you guys are naming on my last post, one of my last recent posts, I mentioned all those players. I didn't hide from those facts. But I'm a betting man. Why am I going to go with? I'm going to go with probability, and probability tells me it's not good money to put on wide receivers.
So you ain't reaching into the piggy bank by any means.
Exactly. Hey man, I'm trying to make y'all money.
Yeah, and you know what? I'd imagine your piggy bank only has an entrance and not an exit. Like you're only putting money in. You're never taking money out.
Exactly. We trying to get fat out here, bro.
Yeah, we eating Banks.
Exactly. And hey, bro, and I'm trying to spread that love with my followers, bro. I want all us to eat.
And you hear me? You hear that, Playmakers? He wants y'all to feast. That's why I brought these fine gentlemen on, to make sure my Playmakers get exposed to y'all and follow suit. Because here at the GMM Network, I really emphasize the network in GMM Network. That's why I'm out here networking. If I enjoy the content, I know my fan base, as small or big as it is, or, you know what I mean, or I view them as such, like people that just enjoy value, you know what I mean, and need it. Like, you know what I mean? It's our civic duty as analysts to bring them this, you know what I mean?
Word up. And to add to the CD Lamb though, like, all right, let's look at his ADP. He's going like in the 10th round according to Fantasy Football Calculator at this moment.
Yep.
And
I love the calculator. Love it.
Exactly, man. And I'm just gonna name some players that if they were on the board still, I would think about. And here's one: J.K. Dobbins. Now,
love it.
Okay, check this out. My boy, that he used to, coach for Kaepernick. He had a good, thing.
Oh, you mean the legend of Greg Roman?
Exactly. And one thing about Greg Roman, guys, that when he is on top of an offense, he's never been worse than 7th overall rushing in his career as a coach. That's what he does. And guess what he just said? Oh, yeah, the Ravens, it's going to be a committee because Mark Ingram is a baller. Mad respect to my boy.
But he's
Mark
an
Ingram,
old baller.
And he's also on his last year of his contract. And you know what you got to do? You got to get the next guy ready. Yeah. And J.K. Dobbins is that dude that I'm looking at the 10th round. I'm like, hey, I know running backs are the most important thing in fantasy football. I don't care what no one says. Everyone knows that's
Oh,
to be
yeah.
a fact.
Facts.
You can never have enough running backs in fantasy football.
You know, I usually, well, I'm utilizing, all of my phones right here, right? That would be a time I would have hit Jamaican horns right there. You know what I'm saying? Because my soundboard is on one of my phones, but I actually, man, I love that. I'm banking on that take, Banks.
Yeah, so like that's someone that I'm gonna look at, man. Because rookie running backs, they have value. The rookie tight ends, rookie wide receivers, they might hit, but I'm not gonna take the might. I want the thing that's gonna give me more than might. Probability, man. You gotta go with the numbers, man. Stop trusting your emotions. Stop thinking about the names, fellas. Think about the production and what also is there, the coaching. Break down. If you want to talk about fantasy football and want to see if a player's worth it, look at the offensive coordinator. Talk the philosophy. And if you're too lazy to do the work, come check out Piggy Bank Pickz in Sin City. We're going to give it to you.
Yeah, you hear that, Playmakers? Jamaicans. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so chat. So now, I will say, here's a crazy Bogart take. In the 10th, I do love the other options there. Like, matter of fact, I'll even rather take a shot at an Anthony Miller. You know what I mean? Type of shit. Because I only play PPR and Playmakers. I always say this to you guys. If you ain't playing PPR, Playmakers, reconsider your fantasy life. You know what I mean? Because for real, because you know what I'm saying, the player pool is so vast, and like I would rather look at a guy like that. Or even to preference the fact that we're talking about my man Lamb Chops, and we're talking about rookie wide receivers, I would probably look at a Justin Jefferson who's actually walking into a role, filling in from Stephon Diggs. You know what I mean? And we've seen Stephon Diggs, actually kind of have a blow up year, and then number one coverage is gonna pay attention to the gritty white boy Adam Thielen. You know what I mean? I like to call him. I don't call him Thielen. I call him Adam Thielen. You know what I'm saying? Because, and then I say this too because white boys as a receiver, you gotta it's kind of like reverse racism where it's like you gotta really go hard because you know what I'm saying. The brothers, they hold that position down, and if you're a white receiver like the Jordy Nelsons of the world, or even more specifically the slot guys like Adam Humphries or a Julian Edelman, or in this case, Adam Thielen. You know what I mean? They've earned their keep, especially Adam Thielen, where he's gonna draw that coverage, and like I think Jefferson's gonna flash early on before they and how about this? Even just scratch everything I just said. Just going back to what Banks said earlier, why we don't pay attention to rookie wide receivers in general is because the receiving playbook is way harder to get acclimated to than like being a rookie running back. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, look at my man Deebo Samuel. He didn't really start getting active until like the second half of the year because when you're a rookie receiver, even your snap count will reflect it. You know what I mean? Like, most of these coaching staffs are gonna treat you as such. You're a rookie. You're a new guy. You're not gonna get a full complement of snaps because your knowledge of the playbook isn't gonna be as vast. And everyone knows with this Corona climate confinement that we've all been dealing with as a human race. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, so are these players where there was no OTAs. Hopefully we get camp or some kind of version of it. You know what I mean? Hopefully, you know what I mean? Where like these players can get acclimated correctly. Because if not, they're way behind the ball. You know what I mean? So I will say I probably won't have a ton of CeeDee Lamb by any means, except for maybe in my Dynasty League. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you guys a question.
Bust it.
Who do you guys think is going to have the best season as far as a rookie wide receiver?
Oh my God, this is going to be crazy. This is going to be crazy. Denzel Mims. Because they have a trash secondary, and I don't think they addressed it enough. Even though I happen to believe that the Jets, the Browns, and the Broncos knocked this draft out the park. Right, this past draft, those three teams, I feel like they addressed the most needs. I think they did the best to their ability as far as on paper in the draft. But I still don't believe that the Jets secondary, even though they addressed a lot of those needs, back there. Jamal Adams can't do everything, and he's a safety. And when they drop him in coverage, he's on a tight end. I think Denzel, they're going to give up a lot of points, and Denzel Mims, with his speed and his 50-50 catchability, even though he has a bit of the drops, he has a bit of, trash hands. I just think, like bold prediction that he might have the most production as far as fantasy-wise. And maybe even in reality, because he's going to get a lot of opportunity walking in to and then a close second behind him, I'll give it to CeeDee Lamb, because let's be honest, no more Jason Witten, no more Randall Cobb. I think they believe. You can help me out here, Sin City. Didn't they have like over, maybe 150 plus targets vacant? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's where that was really where I'm going with it. If you're gonna take a shot on anybody in the late rounds, and if he's available, I'm just saying. I listed off some players that went off in their rookie season in the past, and all of those names are either Pro Bowlers or very, very, very good players. Now, if you're banking on a Jets receiver, I'm not doing it, but I'm looking at history. And
okay,
I
Jets receiver, minus the name, scratch the name. This is just a vague question or a broad question. Jets receiver or Dolphins receiver?
Oh,
like, and this is specifically for you, Sin City.
You got me. I was a Jets receiver.
Hey, I kind of trapped you in that question. Because you were saying, I pay attention. I pay attention. So, with everything you were saying, I just wanted to see how much you stand behind that.
I'm consistent. I'm going Jets
Yeah,
receiver.
I love it. This is what you hear that, Playmakers?
Their quarterback situation is established.
You mean my man Darnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator himself?
Hey, you saw what he did to Dallas.
Defeated Mono T1000?
That's all I got to see from him is what he did to Dallas. He came off of mono and just mono.
He kind of balled, bro. He kind of balled. I can't lie.
Man.
So,
y'all completely wrong in my eyes.
Yes, Banks. Tell us where the money take is.
Oh man, check this out. Look, this is not even because I'm a Dolphin fan and I hate the Jets and everything that the Jets stand for. But like I said, it starts with the coaching, man. Adam Gase.
Yeah, you're right. God damn it. Oh,
Jets.
I retract my Denzel Mims statement because I forgot.
Hold on, man. Look, last year I was like, my boy Le'Veon Bell. He still got it. I was like, I know Adam Gase is horrible, but he's so talented. Bro, it don't matter what talent this man has. He will corrupt it. He will make sure he doesn't use it. Come on, man. Let's say Kenyon Drake is going to be drafted very high in fantasy leagues.
Yeah, he's going in the second round.
Okay, Adam Gase didn't do anything with him. Devontae Parker had a breakout year after he left.
Look at Damian Williams.
Damian Williams gets traded off to the Chiefs, and he does great. All these former Dolphin players do great after. Look, Ryan Tannehill went the farthest he ever been.
And I can't lie. Under that pretense, when the trade rumors for Devontae Parker, I so wanted my Niners to trade for him. But continue.
So like all these guys have succeed after Adam Gase leaves, and then you see people suffer inside of the team, especially in fantasy. So this is why Le'Veon Bell was a top 10 every single year, top 5 pick in fantasy football.
Yeah.
Every year. And no one's questioning why. Did Le'Veon Bell just lose it because he had a rap year and gained some weight? No, that's garbage.
Hey, bro, I love doing fantasy math, right? And in this case, when he went to the Jets, he was coming from an offensive line that allowed him 3.8 yards a carry before contact. And then he was going to a line that only allowed 1.8 yards a carry. You know what I'm saying? Where I was like, I'm curving Le'Veon Bell. It was simple fantasy math. You know what I mean? But the talent alone, we were like, okay. You know what I mean? And then I'll tell you this much. I was blinded in a sense where I was like, well, he is going at the back of the first now. And then I was just like, I had to slap myself. You know what I'm saying? I had to take a shot of that get right, that act right. You know what I mean? It was like just, you know what I'm saying? I would never be able to look at myself in the mirror after that. And Yeah.
So that's my point. That you got to look at the coaching, and it's not it, bro. And I'm gonna say something else about Sam Darnold. I see a lot of love for Sam Darnold as of late, and I honestly don't understand it.
Super flex love. That's it.
Like,
Super
check this
flex
out.
third quarterback love is what I'm giving him.
I got you, but I see a lot of people like talking about Sam Darnold and what he could potentially be. Like, okay, yeah, maybe potentially, but let's not forget this guy came from USC. How many USC quarterbacks are good besides Carson Palmer? Not too many. I just go with probability. All right, I'm just being real, bro. And Sam Darnold, man, he had a turnover. He was a turnover machine. And he's very young. I know this. He's very young, but he has a turnover machine at USC. Reminds me of another Jet quarterback that got picked pretty high. Oh, yeah, Mark Sanchez. So let's be real, man. When you turn over the ball a lot, and my Miami Dolphins, and I see a lot of teams, Sam Darnold, they beat up on him. He has some.
Hey, butt fumble. My man Darnold Schwarzenegger has his butt fumble, but his version of it, and it's I see ghosts.
Yes, come on, man. Pac-Man. He ain't even Pac-Man, bro. Because he ain't eating, bro. The Jets is garbage. Adam Gase is garbage. They're a fantasy dump.
You know what I tell all my Jets homies? Because I actually, believe it or not, I have several of them. I tell them, for every loss, it's you guys should celebrate, because that's you getting closer to getting rid of Adam Gase. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And I will say Sam Darnold is one of those guys, along with Robbie Anderson, because I'll make up a nickname and then I'll love the nickname so much where I'll be blinded. Like, I used to call Robbie Anderson the green bean, the string bean even. You know what I mean? Because he looked like a goddamn string bean. You know what I'm saying? And then, because he was wearing green too, and he's skinny as fuck, and he's just, he's part of a balanced diet, and he's just smashing down the field. But then, or even Darnold Schwarzenegger, you know what I mean? The Terminator, whooping up the T-1000. It's like, but I will say though, I'm only looking at guys like that, or a quarterback like him in particular, in a super flex league, and he, a 12-team super flex league, I will have 3 quarterbacks, and he would be like, I'm not mad at looking at him as my third. You know what I mean? But that's it. That's as far as it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're approaching this last segment. We're gonna close this up because, as a content creator, you guys are content creators. We're in the same industry, and with what's going on in the world, I just feel it would be irresponsible if we don't address this. You know what I mean? With what's going on, you know what I'm saying? This horrendous injustice. I know that between the 3 of us, we're all minorities. You know what I'm saying? We're all people that are being victimized over the years. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna start this one off, and I just want to say, I want everyone to be safe, and I don't want everyone to be blinded, and use justice for George as an excuse to just fuck shit up. Like, I understand it. You know what I mean? I understand it because, our voices don't get heard. We're tired of this shit. But please don't use it as an excuse to just go and come up and rob jewelry stores and rob shoe stores, and just so you could flex, for the gram. You know what I mean? Or even, you know what I mean? Or even I mean, man, it's such a sensitive subject that I almost catch myself that I don't want to say the wrong thing and say fuck these motherfuckers, fucking Malcolm X by any means necessary. Let's get it. You know what I mean? I want to be conscious of the message we send, because I actually believe in it, that we, there is a way that we could try to make some change, and you know what I mean, and really. Really raise the real questions, because unfortunately our brother George Floyd, you know what I mean, he actually has global coverage on this. The world is raising their eyebrows and shaking their head, you know what I mean? And just how do you fellas feel about this whole thing right now? If there's a message you can give to the Playmakers.
Kevin, it's not going. I'm about to go outside and talk about this too, so go first real quick.
All right, sounds good, bro. Yeah, man, definitely what's going on there. I think we have a responsibility to talk about it, especially that we have platforms. I think it's very important. Um, these things have been going on for years, and you'd make a great point. Yes, we are, all minorities that are speaking on here, but in particular, we got to talk about, our black brothers that, for whatever reason, hatred, racism, all of it, like, they get the short end of the stick or the shortest end of the stick. And, the movement they've been making, man, for a very long time. I mean, talking about all this injustice, there's something that has to be done. And I think it takes very powerful people to come together and, make power moves. And whatever, I don't have the answer. I couldn't tell you. I'll be lying to you. But
Well,
there's definitely something that has to be
if we
done.
don't have an answer, just what's a message that you want to send? Kevin Banks.
A message, man, look, man, this is my message, man. I'm a man of faith. I believe in God.
Yes.
And man, I want to, definitely just say, like, in these times, man, we got to pray. We got to pray because, to me, man, the enemy's out here, and he's definitely, he wants us to fall for those traps. And for me, man, it gives me a heavy heart, man. I want God, my message, man, to penetrate these hearts out here, that are hard, that are rock solid, and for him to go ahead and, change people's lives, man, because, only God can change somebody. And I definitely, I really believe in that. And, but we got to stand up for, what is right. And, like, to your point, doing, fighting fire with fire is not the way to me. You're not going to win that game when you're trying to fight, the powers that are in high places that are evil.
Yeah.
So, like, for me, man, like, we got to do what's right to stand up for our brothers and speak, man, because I feel like a lot of people are not speaking. We got to all have our voices heard, and we got to, speak up for our brothers, man, because, they've been fighting this alone for a very long time, and it's now time for us to take, to stand with them and make sure that this don't happen anymore, man, because this is our communities. These are the people we grew up with. Like, we talk about the NFL, we love the NFL, but, man, the NFL is a lot of brothers out there, man, and like, everyone got to do the right thing, man. They got to do the right thing. In your heart what's right and wrong. Stop like whatever you were taught, man. You got to unteach that. We've got to be the system for the inside out. And for sure, man, like, we got to, touch hearts out here. And man, like, Floyd, man, and his family, to everyone before him that has fallen, man, to injustice. We need justice in here. I mean, like,
Yes.
when someone in our community commits a crime and murders someone else, that person gets life. Now, we want the same justice when it comes to someone that, goes over their power and their authority,
Yeah.
man.
Those
And
that they label disenfranchised even.
Exactly, man. No more immunity. No more this gang
Yeah.
culture. That the real gang is police and their culture. And there's no more of this. No snitching on the blue, like that blue code that they have. Man, they act just like a gang.
They are the biggest gang. I mean, you are from LA, where
Yeah, man,
like,
it's
bruh,
LA.
like that's
Like,
the
bro,
biggest gang in the world
LA
is
PD.
police.
Yes, they are, and it's a very rich history, and it gotta stop. It's over, bro. Like this, we can't take this no more. Like I said, we gotta stand up for our brothers, man, because they've been fighting alone for a very long time, bro. And it's like it's done, bro. Like, it's done. And like, I said, like, I pray to God, man, that that he could, like, change these people, man, because it's crazy, man. Like, I don't want to say the wrong thing, man, but like I said, man, like, don't trust in man, trust in God and his plan and follow him. That's all I got to say, bro.
Man,
like,
well said, man, and well put, Kevin Banks.
Yeah, man. Man, I'm gonna start off by just, of course, going off of what Piggy said. First off, you gotta pray, bro. That's like, and when we say, like, we're not trying to say the wrong things, it's because we know that the times nowadays, everybody got their own opinion, and a lot of times, as content creators, our content is our life. So we don't want to say nothing to offend nobody or for people to take it the wrong way, but at the same time, we can't suppress our views as well. And I appreciate you giving, us the platform to kind of speak on that, because for me, that's just where it starts and ends, is with God. So at the end of the day, you can't change people's minds. You can't change if they haven't learned, if people haven't seen for this long, and this is now the thing. This isn't even the worst thing that has happened in our history. So, like, and I'm not downplaying at all. I'm just saying, like, there's been a a lot of instances in which
Countless,
things like this
too many.
happen, bro.
Too many.
Too many. So for a lot of people of color, you know, they do protest. A lot of people just be, you know, they're used to it. The trauma, they're used to it. So when you see people doing things and you have questions on, like, why are they doing this? You have to realize that some people, because we don't have the answer, they just want to do something. And I'm not condoning violence or looting or anything, but at the same time,
We understand the frustration.
if we're focused on that and not the start of it of, okay, someone died here due to the police, then the message is never going to get to where we need. It's never going to get across, because people are just going to pay attention to their property that's being destroyed, as opposed to the life that was just lost and the countless others. And my mom, for example, seeing my face in these people, and like, that's traumatizing for people. Like, this is no joke. So there's no immediate solution except, you know, prayer, peace. And I think collectively we just all need to come to a point in which we just realize we need to leave each other alone as far as the negativity and just promote our gifts. Now, Kevin made some good points with a lot of stuff what he was saying, and the main one I want to focus on is a lot of people, and it's hard for me to say this, but a lot of people, you know, you do the blackout, you do the tag, you do the BLM, yeah, the fist, you protest, but like, speak on it. Put your creativity on the line. Put your stuff on the line. Like, put your platform on the line to speak how you feel, because that's how you know how people are serious. I got a friend that, you know,
I'm actually writing a track, and like, I'm you know, because, you know, like I said, I'm a sound engineer, you know, that's my day job, you know what I mean? And like, you know, I'm gonna be in the studio Thursday, and I have this joint I've been writing because I feel like, you know, like, I grew up in the east side of San Jose. You know what I mean? I grew up in the Bay Area. We're very diverse. We're a melting pot. We're like, for real, specifically where I'm from, the white people are the minority in the east side of San Jose. I grew up around blacks, Mexicans, you know, Puerto Ricans, Indians, Vietnamese, Chinese. I'm Filipino. I got mad Spanish in me as well. I'm a fucking mutt. I'm a mestizo, as they would call it. You know what I mean? We grew up just all around, you know, all around, we grew up never on the fuck shit. And when we seen the fuck shit, we fucked them up. You know what I mean? So it's like, I can't even like be upset in that sense when I see what's going on, but then it's like, it's really just only gonna have history repeat itself. You know what I mean? Because like, especially the fact that we're living in a day and age where clout chasing is a thing. Like, somebody sent me a video today of some looters, right? And I want to say, you guys, have you ever heard the term "the internet is undefeated"?
Yeah.
Yo, the looters are undefeated right now. Somebody sent me a video. They had hijacked a crane with a wrecking ball, and they were just tearing down a police station. And I was like,
that's not our people, bro. We don't do that.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's not what we do, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
We've lost too much, bro. And the last thing that I will say real quick is just, again, use your platform to vocalize it.
Yes.
Vocalize how you personally feel. Taking a template that somebody else did is cool, but it's a template.
And that, yeah,
it's
just
like
stencil.
if you use Apple Music and Logic, if you use Apple tracks, that's cool. But you want to do more. You want to
don't sample the bitch.
It. Exactly.
I love that you could use the music analogy, because then you're speaking my language too.
And just realize, this is the last thing I'm going to say, just realize everybody is not bad, everybody's not good. You know, there's a lot of things going on. You know, like,
we're human.
All cops are bad. Exactly. Everybody's human. It's okay to be wrong. You feel me? But stop asking black people what the solution is. Ask the people who are oppressing the black people, what is the solution? And that's what I'm going to end with.
That's the real question.
It's not up to black people to find a solution for racism, and they're not the problem.
Selfishly, this is something I want to add on my take right here. Yo, like, stop screaming all lives matter, because you weren't saying that before black people were getting murdered unjustly. You know what I mean? Like it's a backwards concept. You wouldn't have had that without this happening. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, yo, fuck that. Because right now, I mean, even speaking as a minority, as a first generation born Filipino American, I'm on the side of Black Lives Matter because no matter what, those people, those evils, they look at us the same too.
Exactly.
Because we're not
Thank
them.
you.
We're not them. And
And
you
the
know what?
irony, wait, real quick, let me just add this. The irony is the people, like, I'm not going to say all white people, right? But the people, the image of the races are white people, right?
Yes.
Not all white people got white people in their favor. It's about money and power, bro.
It's true.
That's what people need to understand. It's not even really about race. It's about money, power, conquer, divide. And if you want to talk about some real stuff on another time, man, invite me on your show too, bro.
Hey, man,
we get
you
to
know
talk
what, man?
NFL, we can talk real life, all that.
I have another podcast series where we just dive deep into stuff like this, man. You know what I mean? But I definitely wanted to involve this in because, you know, as content creators and, you know what I mean, as people who we are as individuals, you know what I mean? With the voice or a platform, you know what I mean? Like, I'm never going to be able to sleep at night unless I could use my platform correctly. You know what I mean? Because this is actually, and this ain't no clout chasing or anything like that. This is just the life I grew up in. You know what I mean? Like, these are the people these are my brothers. These are my black brothers. These are my Asian brothers. These are my Hispanic brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like look at Filipinos. If you want to look at Filipinos historically, or their history, they were enslaved by Spaniards even. You know what I mean? Like, there's levels to this shit all around the world, but in America specifically, people that came from somewhere else came here and claimed it and tried to set these rules. And for centuries, this shit has been their best kept secret, just fucking us all off. And now that anybody who's screaming all lives matter really has no fucking clue that this shit has been going on. And you motherfuckers, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I was going to go on, but then I realized, too, the responsibility I have. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, man. But you know what, though? I hate that, you know, I took it that direction in that sense as far as, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, the entertainment level to this, but this is real shit. This is still value. This is honest value. Because at the same time, we are human beings. We are individuals. And, like, we are great at what we do as far as our fantasy analysis, our football analysis, what have you. But us as human beings, you know what I'm saying? We are gonna never stop short to use this opportunity to you know, get a message across somehow, some way.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fellas, man, this was fucking awesome. This is, and mark my words, this is not the first time. Like, you know, if you look at my history in the real fantasy playmakers, or even in the GMM network, the people that I bring on, or that I invite on, I always re-invite them because I actually, you know, I want to make sure I connect with individuals on their content and who they are as human beings for real. Like, and I'm pretty good and I relate it to me being a poker player and a hustler in the streets even, where it's like, I know where, like, I feel like I have a good gauge on, you know, people that I identify with. So I know this is not the first time that we're all going to get together. You know what I mean?
Man, absolutely. I do want to say about your show, man. The reason why I reached out, it was because I felt that energy. I did see it too from what you got going on, man. And it is a pleasure being here. I'm really glad you did invite us to open up on that last subject. I think that was the most important of all. With this fantasy and this football, it's fun. It's what we want to do, but it's not real life. Real life is the last stuff we were talking about, and I want everything that we said to resonate. You got somebody that's a Filipino, African American, and Latino giving you 3 different perspectives on football and life. So just go ahead and take what you can, and know we just have everybody's best interests.
Hey, bro, full disclosure, because I am in the legal marijuana business. But for years, I was a dope dealer, and I say full disclosure because that statute of limitations, so I could actually say that out loud. Like years ago, I was doing it illegal, but I could say it now because it's been years enough. But like, bro, as a former dope dealer, all I do is deal that real dope, and what that real dope is that real life ism, and that's what we deliver. This was that real ism. We need to get them hooked on that truth. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we deliver, man. That's what, and matter of fact, we're not even selling it. We're giving it away because that's what the truth needs to be delivered. It's here for the taking. And that's what sucks is that a lot of people are blind and deaf and dumb, that the truth is out there for them and they want to buy into whatever fucking trends or clout that blinds them. And you know what? Fuck them. That's why this content isn't for those people. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. As my universal brothers, man, I want to thank you guys for coming on. I want you guys to, you know what I'm saying? I know it's, I know with everything we just said, it sucks to try to segue back to bringing us in, full circle as far as like our content, but I definitely want you guys to go ahead and reiterate where they can find you guys and where they can find all the content.
Oh yeah, absolutely, bro. Again, Kevin Banks here, Sin City on Sticks. You can find me at Sin City on Sticks, SIN City, like Vegas, Sin City on Sticks. Piggy Bank Pickz is another hub where I do the edits for Kevin Banks, and he'll get at that too right now.
Yeah, man, you can find us at Piggy Bank Pickz with a Z at the end. I mean, yeah, bro, like, come find us there, man, for all that fantasy football, for all that NFL talk, and also, man, for your gambling needs when it comes to the NFL. We got you on that too. So definitely check us out, man. We're gonna give you more and more content. And man, I wanted to say I appreciate you having us on the show, bro. You have a great thing going, man, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Hey, man, I appreciate that, man. And it's likewise, man. I always like to move like I'm a great like I'm a force. You know what I mean? Even though I'm a small platform, I like to move like I'm already there where I'm trying to get to. You know what I mean? And like I only reach out to those that I feel that are just that we're like-minded. You know what I mean? Because the playmakers know I only surround myself with like-minded individuals. You know what I'm saying? Open-minded individuals, life livers. You know what I mean? That's what we all are. And playmakers, all the links for all my lazy ass playmakers, all the links will be in the description. You know what I'm saying? Y'all already know where to find me. It's gonna be, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna be tagging and posting and all that. We're gonna make sure our big old network continues to stay strong. You know what I mean? Like it might be a tangled web we weave, but all them suckers that get caught in it, they get got. You know what I'm saying? Because we are a force to be reckoned with. And I was just telling this to my fiance. I was like, I love the network that I'm amassing because I'm legit like reaching out to people that I only want to reach out to. I don't give a fuck about following. I don't give a fuck about none. It's when I reach out, it's individuals that I identify with, as well as appreciate the content. You know what I mean? And this shit fits the criteria. You know what I mean? Like that, and that's why it's no coincidence. Because I also don't believe in coincidences. I even said it when I was DMing. I was like, "Look, the universe got us here now." And then I forget which one of y'all responded, but you're like, "Well, okay, we're here now." And you know what I mean? And bro, I love it, man. Like, thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys. This is the start of a beautiful relationship, man. And playmakers, hey, we love y'all too. Everybody be safe. Everybody be strong. Everybody be woke. Everybody don't be on no fuck shit. For real. In these times. You know what I'm saying? Fellas, I'm going to cut this thing off. Give me a second.